Hey, what's up guys? Guardian here, coming you guys with a deck profile update. This time we're going to be looking at my Nirvana deck. So we took a look at Hexrob last time, so today I wanted to give you guys the update for Nirvana and the introduction of Erger from set 2. So yeah, without further ado, let's get stuck into the deck. So for the ride line, we are going with the Sunrise Egg. We have Rino. We also have the Reiyu, and of course we have Nirvana. So ride line is more or less the same. I was testing out Trickstar for the starter for a little bit, but I decided to go back to the egg just because the draw is pretty handy when going second. Just because the grade 3 turn against some matchups can be pretty punishing if you don't have the extra draw. So it can come in handy for those situations. But yeah, we have the Reno, which is of course going to search out the Trickstar. And we also have Reiyu, which will search out the normal Vairina from the start deck. And then we of course have Nirvana, which is the main unit of the deck. So yeah, that is the ride line. So for the main deck, we have the 3 additional copies of Nirvana. Of course, we want to be Persona riding, since it's going to allow us to just push for bigger numbers, have more threatening attacks, and can also give us the ability to preserve some resources without counterblasts, so that's pretty nice as well. So yeah, 3 extra copies of Nirvana for the Persona ride. Next, I am playing the 3 copies of Valiente. I decided to keep this in the deck. I've seen variants with different decks where they've been taking this out, or they've been dropping it down to 2 or 3. I went for the 3 copy build just because I quite like it as a beat stick, because it is 13 on its own. It's also pretty decent to overdress onto an Arcs that you might have used already in the early game. So you can get like a 23k base for the opponent to worry about. And pumping that up by 10k increments is quite good, since you'll go to 23, 33, 43, just gets bigger and bigger. And of course, that on-hit pressure could also be pretty good if your opponent is at a high damage threshold. But yeah, I like keeping the 3 in the deck, just because there are times where I will call this just to an open rearguard circle on its own, just because it can hit for 23 with a power up from Nirvana. And then obviously if you Persona Ride, that's going to be 33. So I just like the fact that he can hit good numbers on his own, and it's another overdress unit that we can use with Nirvana. And the other sort of thinking of this as well was that it's another way for us to not dedicate too many resources to the field, whilst also being able to play around something like Leonard from the Dark States with Bruce. So that's also another upside. And some other alternatives I've seen with playing this is that you could cut one of these down to increase the ratio of some of the other cards in the deck, like Vairina or something like that. And then some other choices I've seen are things like the Tenjisted. So instead of using the CB cost for this as a potential on hit, you could just use it for the Tenjisted to search out the extra copies of Nirvana for the Persona rides. But that's up to you there. But I decided just for the go for the extra overdress units, just to have more power-up targets for Nirvana to boost up. And also, like I said, the ability to hit on his own is pretty nice overall. So that's why I decided to keep 3 of him in the deck. But feel free to change that if you so wish to. So, moving on to the grade 2s, we have the brand new unit, which is Erger. So Erger is really, really cool. So the cool thing with this is that I like the fact that you can say superior overdress with this, since it's just such a fancy name for an action. So yeah, but yeah, the cool thing is that whilst in hand at the end of the battle that your Trickstar attacked the Vanguard, if your Vanguard is Nirvana, you can Soul Blast 2, and then overdress this card on your Trickstar on rearguard as stand, and then you countercharge 1. So yes, you will be able to get yourself out of a scenario if you are CB denied, since you'll be able to go into this and then get the counter charge off to then activate Nirvana's ability, which is great timing since you can attack with Nirvana and then power up this Erger. So he'll be hitting for 30,000 at minimal, because he does get a power up with his second skill. So if this unit is in the overdress state, this unit gets 10,000 power and 10,000 shield. So you are actually incentivized to intercept with this as well, since you'll get 10k shield, being a 15k interceptor, which is really, really nice shield value. It's pretty much as we were getting from the order that we were playing in the older version of the deck. So yeah, fantastic card. Resources, extra attacks, counter charge to work with Nirvana, extra shield for defense. It's fantastic. Love playing this card, and it's been a really good time playing with this. So yeah, definitely play this. Next, we have some of the usuals. So, of course, we have our 4 copies of Arc still. Just a really good draw card. Overdress it on Trickstar to draw 2 for a Counterblast. Gets 5k as well, so can hit some decent numbers. But yeah, pretty much our resource generator of the deck with drawing us some cards. And then for the last grade 2 of the deck, decided to just go for 2 copies of the normal Vairina, just because I like having at least one of this in the deck. Just so that my Reiyu can search something when I ride on top of it with the Nirvana. So yeah, just having that extra copy there, just as a search capability target to get it out of the deck for the plus. And then, even though I don't use his skill too often, he still can get power without using a resource. So you still can hit numbers with him. And also, it's not like you're never going to use the retire. There could be an opportunity where that is relevant, but more times than often, I am saving the Soul Blast for the Erger play. But yeah, he's just here. Extra additional overdress units that we can power up with Nirvana, and it's just nice to have. So 2 copies of that feels okay to me. So going into the grade 1s, we of course have our Perfect Guards, which, yep, this hasn't changed. So 4 copies of the Twin Buckler Dragon, that's pretty standard. And then for some new units here, I'm playing 3 copies of the new grade 1, the Toga. This card is really cool, just because it's whenever discarded from your hand during your turn, it goes into your soul instead of putting it into the drop zone. So this actually facilitates you with some extra soul power, so that you can actually get off the Erger skills with the Soul Blast too. So I decided just to go for 3 of this, just because of space. If you wanted to, you could take out the 3rd copy of the Valiente for a 4th copy of this, if you do find yourself in situations where you want the extra soul charge. But do remember that just simply by persona riding with your Nirvanas, you'll be generating soul that way as well, since the other Nirvanas underneath will be in the soul, obviously. So that's another indirect way of soul charge. So that's pretty cool. So just 3 copies of this is just what I'm comfortable with at the moment. And then for some other grade 1s, actually the last grade 1, we have 3 copies of the Aruna. So this is actually a really cool card. It's a common. It says continuous regard during the battle that this unit boosted the grade 0. This unit gets 5,000 power. So it's a 13k booster. So with your Trickstars, you'll be hitting for 18k numbers, which is really awkward, because your opponent can't intercept that, because that's 18 as well. So they're going to at least have to dedicate at minimal a 15k shield from hand, probably, to stop the attack. And also, with it being one of the smaller attacks, they're kind of incentivized to do so as well. So yeah, so this obviously powers up your Trickstar column, so that you're going to be hitting 18, so pretty nice. And then obviously you're then going to go into the Erger play after that, since your Trickstar is attacked. And it's mainly just there so that your Trickstar is able to actually hit things, since yeah, he's pretty weak on his own, so he needs the additional power where he can get it, and this is the best way of doing so with this booster for him. So that's pretty cool. So that's it for the grade 1s. So for the grade 0s, we obviously have our ace being the Trickstar. Got the nice foily version of him from that festival collection. Looks really cool. Yeah, it's Trickstar. Play 4. Don't really know what else to say about that. It's the main card of your deck. So yeah, play 4 of those. So, for the triggers, I decided to go with the very standard 8 critical. We have the 4 copies of the Zonne there from the festival collection, and I'm also playing the 4 additional crits with the Conduct Spark Dragon. So yeah, decided to go for the 8 crit just because in the early game, a front can work well, but it really depends on if you see arcs or not. Sometimes it can happen, sometimes it can't. But yeah, I just personally think crits are just better for the early game and just for overall pressure. But I do still play the new front trigger, which I'm only playing 3 of at the minute. I will probably bump this up to 4 at some point, but I feel like 3 is okay. It's like I said, fronts kind of just feel awkward in the early stages of the game, and the crits just feel like they bring a bit more value overall when it comes to, especially when it comes to closing the game out as well. But I do like the fronts. They do work well in Nirvana just because you're typically going to be attacking with the Vanguard anyway, so then you can power up the overdress units even further when you see a front trigger. But yeah, the additional shield is also just very nice as well. So that's those. And then last but not least, we of course have our overtrigger for Dragon Empire, the Dragveda, to restand the Vanguard. So very, very nice. Very crucial when it comes up as well, since it can be, well, not crucial, but it can be very devastating just because if you have the resources to facilitate another Nirvana attack, you could power up your unit even further. So that can get pretty scary, but it depends. And then last but not least, to wrap the deck up, we have our heal triggers with the gorgeous Rona with that nice foil triple rare from the Festival Collection. So yeah, that's it for the deck. Nirvana is pretty fun overall. I really like this deck. I think it's my favorite, my favorite my favorite Dragon Empire deck overall. Dragonic Overlord's on the mind at the minute because that is the deck I'm going to be swapping over to play with shortly. So yeah, Dragon Empire. Yes, it's Dragon Empire, the nation. Okay. But yeah, Nirvana, very fun deck. Do enjoy it. It'll be interesting to see where this goes with set 3 with that like centaur-looking Vairina thing. Have no clue what that's going to do. Got a bit of speculation with some friends, but yeah, we'll have to see. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. I hope it was useful. Drop your comments down below to tell me what you think and any suggestions. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video, which will probably be Dragonic Overlord or maybe Phantom Blaster Dragon. But it'll probably be Overlord first. A Dragon Empire, yeah. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. This is Guardian225, signing out.